When treating hip pain, impingement, or mobility issues, or low back pain and mobility issues, you cannot separate one from the other. The traditional medical model is you have pain in your lower back. We're going to focus right here on the lower back, the site of the pain. The site of the pain very often is simply a symptom of something else that's going on in the system. So the symptom, the pain, could be caused from poor mobility at the hip joint. Now, the reason you can't separate the two is because, number one, they're connected. Number two, they're intimately connected. You have an ilium, and a sacrum. The sacrum makes up the back of your pelvis. So pelvis, hips, spine, they're 100% connected. Now, if you turn it around, this is the front of your body. You have a very unique muscle, the hip flexor, also known as the psoas. That muscle, there is no other muscle like it in the body because it simply connects your spine, right here, to your legs. So you have one over here and it attaches in here, and you have one over here and it attaches in here. So that psoas muscle is very unique in the fact that it attaches your upper body to your legs, and then you have another hip flexor on the inside of the pelvis or ilium that attaches to your legs. So when those muscles are involved, tight, stiff, and sore, it creates low back pain. Why? You have two big legs. We're just talking physics here. Your leg is much bigger than your spine. If you have a muscle that attaches your spine to your leg, and that muscle is short and tight from sitting all day, hip flexion, if it's tight and short, it's going to be pulling on your spine. Now you have two big legs and one small spine. Both hip flexors are tight. Every time you try to stand up straight and tall, they're pulling to get you back in that seated or flexed hip position. Or when you go to lay down on your back and your legs are out front, it's pulling on your low back because the muscles haven't gotten back to their resting length. They're tight, stiff, and sore. So that hip flexor, a hip muscle, is now pulling on the spine, which is the biggest reason you can't separate the two when treating one or the other. So every time there's a low back issue, look at the hip. Every time there's a hip issue, look at the low back. And you have to do both to treat them effectively. If you have hip or low back pain, there's a simple way to test who you need to see. So number one, is there a position or activity that makes it better? If the answer is yes, 9 out of 10 times it's a muscular issue. Number two, was there an incident, a fall, an accident, an impact that caused the pain right then and there? If that is the case, definitely go to a medical doctor, get assessed. If you need imaging, get the imaging. But 9 out of 10 times the pain we feel within our body is soft tissue related, so you want a muscle and joint specialist. Okay, if you're used to going to a chiropractor for that quick fix, think about this. Have you ever been to the chiropractor, he'd do the adjustment, you feel amazing, get in your car, twist, turn, whatever, and you're like, oh, the thing is back again. Well, if that's the case, that was a muscular issue. Now, most chiropractic adjustments are HVLA, high velocity, low amplitude. That means it's a fast thrust over a short distance, and that is to adjust a bone back into its place. If the bone is subluxed and that HVLA adjustment goes click and you hear that wonderful crack, that put the bone back in place. But, and this is a big but, they haven't addressed the muscle that operates the joint. So if the muscle is still tight, stiff, and sore, it's going to very quickly pull that bone back out of whack. So if you don't address the muscle in the system or in the area, the likelihood of the adjustment being effective and the one and done is very low. So if you're going to a chiropractor and every time they do the same series of adjustments and send you on your way, it's probably time to find a new practitioner. And you want to look for a muscle and joint specialist who addresses the muscles and the joints, not just the bones and their location.